So how have we got ourselves into this position? Well, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. We've lost 7 games and drawn 12. That's mid-table form, if you ask me. But in this season, where no team wants to play well, we find ourselves top of the table, and a point will seal us the title. But we are playing the team that we would least like to face. Against the other top teams in Slovenia, we've got a great record this season. Against last season's champions Maribor, we've lost once, but we've won the other 3. And against Olympia, well, we've taken 10 points from a possible 12 against arguably the biggest side in the nation. But against Domzale, it has been woeful. We've not even scored. We've lost 4-0 twice. Our best performance was losing 3-0 against them. And we've got this home game against them today at the Sportny Park Dob. And I think if we go out with the same kind of plan we've been using all season, Jakupovic is going to run riot against us once more. So we've headed outside of the box, way outside of the box, to come up with a one-off system just for this game. Let's relieve a little of the tension with some more good news, because another 2 channel members have pledged their support. You generous souls, keep finding that join button down below me. This episode, we're welcoming Dicer and Taylor Made Gaming to the channel. We'll put links to Taylor Made Gaming's own social medias down in the links below. Go and check him out. However, we have got a big task to try and reward them and all of the patrons that you see rolling up the screen right now. It would be fabulous to reward them for their generosity with a title. I fear this could be the most disappointing episode we've had in quite some time. So Domzale tend to play a 4-2-3-1 system with 2 deep-lying midfielders. So this is what we're thinking to try and counter the threats that they offer. They have fullbacks that like to get forward. So today we're going to play 2 wide players, and we're going to ask them to trigger the press on their fullbacks and try and limit that supply line. We're going to ask our fullbacks to be quite conservative during today's game and try and close out their wingers, which should mean that the only other avenues that they've got for creating goals for Jakupovic are these 2 deep-lying midfielders, and we're going to ask a striker and an attacking midfielder to sit on top of them in today's game. And then we've just got Brumec, who is going to be their number 10, and we are going to play a DM who hopefully is going to mark him out of the game. On those midfielders, we're going to be going in on them hard. On all of the players apart from the centre-backs and the goalkeeper, we're going to be triggering the press. And we're also going to be tight marking those midfield 3 to try and shut off this central supply line, so that if our fullbacks and wingers can do a job on their wide players, it should mean that Jakupovic, who will be tightly marked by an unorthodox defender for this game, might just be more frustrated than he has been in recent games. But here's just a little reminder of what we're going to be up against in today's game. A player who scored more than 30 league goals in each of the last 2 seasons. A man with experience of playing football outside of Slovenia, following spells with Austria Wien, a period in Italy where he appeared in Serie A for Empoli, as well as Juventus, before a spell in the northeast of England where he appeared in the Championship for Middlesbrough. So how on earth are we meant to solve a problem like Arnel Jakupovic, who scored 8 goals against us in 3 games? Well, here is the plan, and call it madness because it absolutely is. We're going to go with an untried, untested system, a brand new tactic just for this game, with people playing out of position in order to try and nullify the threats that Domzale have. In my head, this nullifies them. I think when we get out onto the pitch, we'll find that this makes things infinitely worse, and we're 3-0 down within 10 minutes, and we're kissing the title goodbye. But bearing in mind, we only need a point. We're expecting Domzale to come at us, and they have weapons. So here is how we're going to try and counter them. We're going to switch our fullbacks to being defensive so that they can try and sit on their wingers more. And rather than asking them to get forward and support attacks through wide areas, when we're already playing 2 wide men that are going to try and get crosses into the box, we're going to ask them to be inverted wing backs instead and try and bulk us out in the central midfield areas in order to try and protect ourselves against the threat of Jakupovic, we're going to play our left back, Ivan Makovic, who, by the way, cannot tackle. It says that his poor tackling generally exposes his team. So what better position to put him on the pitch than at centre-half, where he is going to be tasked with man-marking Jakupovic. But Makovic is quick and none of our other defenders are, so hopefully he might be able to deal with the pace that Jakupovic brings to the table, and it's going to free up our strongest centre-half, Darko Mitrovic, to just be a floating covering centre-back, so that when Makovic makes mistake after mistake after mistake, we can watch Mitrovic backpedaling, trying to get us out of trouble. In order to try and shut them down in central midfield, we're going to be playing Kaučić as an anchorman. He is going to try and sit on top of their number 10. We're going to ask Tigler to play alongside him as a segundo volante, which I'm led to believe is like a deeper starting box-to-box midfielder. So he will try and give us a presence in these central areas. And remember, Kaučić is going to be backed up by Zidane and Krishnik, who are both playing on their opposite foot today, so that they can be inverted wing-backs. We're going to ask Zenkovic to just be a defensive winger and try and shut down their wide man, who will be playing on the right-hand side. Gajic, we're going to allow him to express himself a little bit more, so we still carry some kind of threat, although he's only on support, so he should be helping out Krishnik as well. And then we're going to have Ivacic, who's going to be a shadow striker and arguably our main goal threat today as he goes beyond Valencic, hoping to get onto some through balls from the midfield. And I am being optimistic when I call them through balls. I mean long clearances. But he's also going to have the very important job of sitting on their defensive midfielders, which Valencic as a deep-lying forward will hopefully do as well. We are going to let their centre-backs have the ball, but when it goes into midfield to their central midfield too, hopefully Ivacic and Valencic are going to get amongst them and close them down and try and force mistakes and win the ball back for us. We're going with a cautious mentality. We're going with a mid-block. We are still going to counter and counter-press. I want to try and swarm on them in midfield if I can. And we've got the hard tackling going. I will warn you, Domzale have had not one, not two, not three, but 4 penalties against us this season. Jakupovic has missed one of those. He's scored the other 3. So should we be going hard on any of their players? I'm not entirely sure that that makes sense, but I want to try and be crisp and aggressive in the tackle against them today. The player who we're going to be missing today, who is a little bit of a miss, is going to be Jaka Kasnic, who's picked up an injury, is not fit. I would have liked to have had him in this volante position because he can play as a DM, whereas Tigler's more of an attacking midfielder rather than a defensive one. But we got plenty of players just trying to fill holes today that they're probably not equipped to cover. Let's show you the full scout report on Domzale and you will see why this is going to be such a tough task. After an unbeaten March, Domzale lost 4 of their 5 matches in April but have won the last 3 in May. Jakupovic's 31 goals make him the division's top scorer, giving him 63 league goals over the last 2 campaigns. Coach Simon Rošman is the current Slovenian manager of the year, and our main goal threat will be missing as Simon Gregorin is suspended. Our new tactic makes this a bit of a Hail Mary as Dob entertain local rivals Domzale, with the winners of this game being crowned Slovenian champions. Here we go then, it is a packed Sportny Park Dob. More than 280 fans are in attendance. What a pitiful attendance that is for a title match, by the way. But this is going to be a bit of an unknown. We've cobbled together a new tactic to try and nullify the threats that we know Domzale are going to bring to the table. Will they have any impact whatsoever, or are we going to be multiple goals down during the first half? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We've got a couple of players playing out of position here. That's a little bit of an unknown. And we've got some key men missing like Kasnic and Gregorin, who we'd like to have out there on the pitch. So this could be anybody's game. We've got the league table up on screen. A reminder that all we need is a point. We don't need to win this game. Just a draw will see us as champions. So Domzale have to attack us. They have to come at us. But we don't really want to be in that situation because when they have been attacking us during the previous 3 times we've played them this season, They've torn us to shreds. We've given the ball away in the Domzale half through Gajic. And here he goes, by the way. And look how slow we are compared to him. Makovic is our quickest defender and only just gets to the ball. And Firmicek has to secure it in his mittens as Domzale threaten early. Playing so cautiously, I'm not expecting us to have many chances, but I do hope that we're not going to give the ball away too often during this game as Ivčić, he takes one on from the edge of the area, and it's only just gone narrowly wide. Half an hour played, we're still a point clear, but this looks dangerous. It deflects off our wall, it goes behind for a corner, and will we be able to clear these without one of our big centre-halves? Makovic, I think, is 5'11", so he's a bit more vulnerable back there for set pieces than somebody like Šalamun would be at 6'5", but Šalamun is such a defensive liability that he would give away goals elsewhere on the pitch. Makovic is playing a 6.8 at the moment, and Mitrovic, well, he's bobbing between a 6.9 and a 7, and we've held out so far, and Kaučić has got a 2v2 if he plays this correctly. Instead, he's slowed the play down and is giving it to Gajic himself in no rush to get forward. And we've only got one man to hit in the box, and it's Valencic, and he's nodded a header against the bar that could have given us a little bit of breathing space. Instead, it looks like we might be going into half-time at 0-0, which we would have taken before the game. I fear that Domzale have got more to throw at us in this second half. Let's see how the boys are performing and see if we need to make any changes. So defensively, it doesn't look too bad. Mitrovic is on a 7, Makovic is on a 6.9. It's Krishnic at right back, who's not performing too well, but it's not a disaster for a player who's left-footed and is playing over on the right and is not accustomed to playing as a right back. In the midfield, again, it's solid. It's not spectacular, but it's okay. It's up front where Denis Valencic has only got a 6.5 average rating, but we saw the threat that he can be on the counter where he headed that effort against the bar, so I think we're going to keep him out there for a little bit longer. The thing I am cautious about, though, is these yellow cards, because we've been down to 10 men against Domzale already this season, and it led to us losing 4-0 when we took them into half-time at 0-0, so I want to make sure we don't get any sendings off in this game. So I think at around 55 or 60 minutes, we will look to make changes, and I think it will be the players that have been booked that we will look to make way. Maybe not Tigla, as, it started in disaster. It's that man Jakupovic. How has that gone in? How have we let him in behind the defence? What has happened? We just cannot keep that man quiet. It's gone to their fullback into central midfield. We don't close him down fast enough. He's run past his man, and the on-rushing Firmicek is stranded in no man's land. And just 20 seconds into the second half, we're going to have to change our system. So this is the position we didn't want to be in, chasing the game against a Domzale side who can now open us up on the counter. We're going for a lopsided 4-4-2. Ivčić and Valencic are going to make a more conventional two-man strike force. And I don't know how much longer we'll stick with the two of them up front. We might need somebody with a little bit more pace in order to try and get behind their defence. In fact, we've gone to 58 minutes and not had an effort on goal. So let's make a change now. Valencic is going to be coming off. Nate Levet is going to go up front. He's going to be a poacher. Ivčić is going to be a deep line forward. Zenkovic is going to have to move up here. And in fact, let's have a look at how he's playing. A 6.5. He's going to make way for Šípek, who's not the quickest, but is left-footed. But I think instead of a winger, we're going to ask him to be an advanced playmaker. And let's push on the inverted wing-backs. I'm going to keep them as inverted wing-backs for the moment. But by having them in the central midfield area, maybe we could ask Tigla to be more attacking in the central midfield. Try and get in the box and get on the end of a chance should one come. We've only had 3 efforts so far this game, but we're on the attack now. And here is Zidane, and he has raced to the byline, checked back, got the ball to Šípek and Kaučić, and now here is Tigla, and he's fired off an effort, and I'm not sure this is even going to be our highlight as his effort is charged down, and now it's Jakupovic, the danger man. Mitrovic has clattered into him. May have picked up a booking. I think it might just be a warning. And on 70 minutes, I think we're going to have to try and be more attacking once more. This time, we're going to go with higher lines of engagement and a higher defensive line. And we're going to trigger the press even more in a bid to try and get back into the game. At some point, we might need to go to a back three and try and get another forward player onto the pitch. On the bench, we don't really have any more forward players to work with. I think it would require moving somebody like Tiegler to play as a striker because he has some ability to play there. We've got 20 minutes to try and find a goal, but it's Domzale that have a free kick and are looking for a second. We've managed to just get it clear, and now here we need to counter through the ever-disappointing Gajic. Lovett has won the ball. Gajic has a chance to redeem himself. He's got very little support with him. Instead, he goes alone. And we're going to have to put out a shout because we need more. As things stand, Domzale are going to win the title by 2 points. And we are just not creating anything. We've got 10 minutes left. And we're going to have to try and fashion yet another system. Here we go. Let's go for playing Gajic up front in a three-pronged attack. And Šípek just in behind as an advanced playmaker. Gajic can be an advanced forward and try and go out wide. Lovett can do the same over on the left. We've asked the inverted wing-backs to be attacking now. I'm not sure there's much more that we can throw at this other than putting on an injured Kasnic. I'm not sure how much of a difference that would make. Let's leave that until the very last knockings and then see whether we need to throw another Hail Mary up into the end zone. We've got another highlight here, and it is our opponents that are coming forward once more. The more that we press, the more gaps there are for them to play in. And this could be the final death knell for us as they have headed it into the net. And I feared the more we chased it, the more open we would be. And Domzale have won the title. And this is doubly disappointing because this is going to be our only chance to win the title for a couple of seasons, I think. We're going to be losing Makovic. We're going to be losing Zenkovic as well. We're going to have no left-sided players for next season. And we've got players like Kaučić who are just waiting in the wings because they want to transfer out of the club. And we're going to be playing European football next season with a very small squad. Last time we tried to do that, we nearly got relegated. By the way, how slow is this player just chasing back, by the way? Who on earth are you, sir? It is Mitrovic, just out for a morning stroll, it would seem. 83 minutes on the clock. There's still time for this to get significantly worse. But this is a crushing little blow, I'm afraid. I don't know how we recover from this, to be honest. We're going to need a tactic for next season, I feel, that either is going to use advanced wingers or is going to be a more centrally orientated system because we're going to have no left side at all as Firmashek stops it being even worse. But this has been disappointing and we've just not found a way to break Domzale down. No goals against them in 4 games. We've lost 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 and 4-0 against them. And they are probably deserved title winners in a season when nobody has performed well. I guess for a team that only survived relegation using a playoff against a second-tier side last season, we should still be pleased with the progress that we've made. But for Domzale to be lifting the title at our stadium when at half-time we had one hand on the trophy is pretty galling. I don't mind admitting we're going to have to go away and have a real think during pre-season about how we try and kick on again. The last youth intake was disappointing. The one before that was not great. I don't think we're going to be stronger next season. It's just whether we can be a little bit more innovative, I think. But I reckon we've got plenty of work to do if we're going to have as much success next season as we've experienced this. So that league table is pretty unpleasant viewing, if I'm honest, and in the context of the changes I made to our tactic going into such an important game, I guess I am culpable for that defeat. Get your criticisms ready down in the comments section. I'm going to head off into pre-season, mop up some tears and do some serious tactical thinking about how we come back for season 5 of the Dobfather.